It's time for dinner.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
From the creative mind of Scott Bertelson, after 4 decades of teaching our impressionable youth,
The dinner bell.
you are invited to enjoy conversational morsels for the mind at Mr. B's dinner party.
Yeah, dinner.
Well, hello out there in podcast land. Wherever you are you in the car? Are you outside? Are you walking? Are you in the kitchen making me supper? Are you planting flowers? Probably not this time of year. Okay, I'll give it up. But anyway, welcome to Mr. B's dinner party. I am back. They couldn't keep me away. Oh, they tried. Oh, yes, they tried. But I just knew that my audience wanted to hear some more information from Mr. B. So I hope that once again, as you normally hear me say, you barely up to the table and find a suitable place to sit. And I hope you brought a hearty appetite. So let's get going.
For the next course, come one, come all. Nothing spoiled here. From comfort classics to what's hot now. Film reviews from Mr. B's Rewatchables.
My happy movie viewing audience, I've talked about a great number of movies, comedies, dramas, scary movies from all different decades. The other day, I happened to be watching a film that I hadn't seen in a number of years, and it just sparked an avalanche of excitement in my soul. What do you think of that expression? Anyway, it was on TCM, and I'm sure you can find it on a streaming service or maybe rent it or maybe even find it on a basic cable station. But it's the movie, the 1980 film, yes, 1980 film called Fame. It's a 1980 American teen musical drama directed by the great Alan Parker and written by Christopher Gore. And it is set in New York City and tells a story and the lives of students who are attending the High School of Performing Arts, from their auditions to the freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I was thoroughly mesmerized again by watching this wonderful musical. I highly suggest that you take the time to see Fame. You might say, oh, 1980, that's dated. No, not really. It still deals with the same issues that teenagers deal with, the level of being accepted, the self-loathing, the stress of being a teenager, and the stress of being accepted into the school and staying in this school. So I would say you got to watch it. You got to watch it. It was made into a TV series that was on NBC for, I think, about 5 or 6 years. And I used to watch that. And that also had great music and great stories about teenagers and their struggles. But I still prefer this. There was a remake made, never seen it. So anyway, what I would like to tell you is that this movie was inspired by the famous musical A Chorus Line. And the script for this is really quite dark. The students during their 4 years of being in the School of Performing Arts endure a lot of hardship and pain.
I don't think you'll ever be good enough, Lisa.
But I don't know what I'll do if I can't dance.
And sexual awakenings, and it's not for young children.
Kids are into sex a lot earlier in the South Bronx, like about 6 a.m.
And the subject matter received criticism from the New York Board of Education. And so they would not let the director actually film this in the actual high school. So they had to go to another school in the summer located in New York City, and then that's where they filmed it. It grossed over $42 million worldwide. It initially received, as I said, a mixed response from reviewers who thought the music was phenomenal, which I highly suggest you go to Spotify or wherever you find your music and listen to the soundtrack. It is intoxicating. but they criticized the dramatic element of it. It did receive 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Song Fame and Best Original Score. And then in 2023, the film was selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry for being, quote, culturally, aesthetically significant, unquote. The people in this, you may not recognize these people today. Irene Cara played Coco, and she was in the school for singing, dancing, and acting.
When I'm down and feeling blue.
Lee Carreri was Bruno, and he was in the school for music.
Bruno, this is our big chance, man. Don't you want success?
Barry Miller was Ralph Garcia, and he was in the school for drama. Gene Anthony Ray, who also was in the TV series, was in the school for dance.
Because I'm going to be a dancer, a good dancer. You know who says so? Me.
Maureen Tefty played Doris, who was specializing in drama at the school.
I'm becoming an actress.
But I want you to be the Doris that I know.
And Ann Mira played Mrs. Sherwood. She was an English teacher who took no prisoners whatsoever. You had to toe the line.
Judy.
In her class. And she made it very clear that if you did not pass your academics, you did not stay in the school. And Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 81% approval rating. So
you want to be an actor, huh?
Yeah, sure want to be an actor.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about the story. These people are coming to study at the High School of Performing Arts. 3 departments: drama, music, and dance.
Dance is not a way of getting through school. It's a way of life.
First of all, Doris, it was a shy Jewish girl who grows tremendously throughout her 4 years there. Ralph Garcia, who is an aspiring keyboardist whose electronic equipment horrifies all the teachers in the music department. Then in the dance department, Coco says that she is really quite talented in all the areas. And Leroy had no intention of being in the school, but auditions with a friend who tried to get in, and they didn't take her, but they took him. So then the students learn that, as I said, the academics are weighed equally with performance.
All anyone ever promised you was 7 classes a day and a hot lunch.
And one of my favorite songs is Hot Lunch Jam, which takes place in the lunchroom, where they break into this song and dance, and the entire cafeteria is electrifying in their performance. And then as this goes on, their sophomore year, I'm skipping a lot of information here, a student, Hillary Van Doren, joins the school's dance department, and then she becomes romantically involved with Leroy. And then she becomes pregnant and then has an abortion. So it does deal with some heavy topics. Bruno and the head of the music department constantly are debating the traditional orchestra versus the synthesized instruments, which Bruno likes. And then Bruno's father, who is a cab driver, plays his music outside the school, and the entire student body, comes out into the streets and starts dancing. And that's the song Fame, which is very, very famous. And then when they go to acting class, a student, Montgomery, is supposed to talk about a painful memory, and he talks about discovering his homosexuality coming out in front of his classmates. And Doris relates her humiliation at being forced by her stage mother to sing at a child's birthday party, which they show. It's really, really scary, really horrifying. And then Ralph, it talks about the death of, as some of you might remember, Freddie Prinze, who committed suicide. And so one student drops her dance clothes on the subway tracks and decides to join the drama department. So sometimes they would switch from one department to the other. Junior year, Ralph and Doris discover their mutual attraction with each other. Hillary brings Leroy home, much to the shock of her father and stepmother. Ralph's younger sister is attacked by a junkie, and Ralph lashes out as his mother's attempt to comfort the child by taking her to the local Catholic church instead of a doctor. Doris begins to question her Jewish upbringing and strained relationship with her mother. They go to a late-night showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Ralph encourages Doris to smoke pot. Intoxicated, Doris takes part in the stage show during the Time Warp number, which was very popular when it was playing in theaters years and years ago. And then senior year, Ralph is performing comedy at a place called Catch a Rising Star, but has some success, but then falls into a hard party lifestyle, which upsets his girlfriend, Doris. So Ralph believes his career is over, but then is comforted by his friend Montgomery, who tells him that failure is part of the entertainment business.
You want to know what's happened to me, man? Success, all right? Now you either hang on or you hang up.
And then, as I told you, Hillary was pregnant, and then she gets an abortion. Coco meets a man who claims to be a director, but she goes to his apartment for a screen test, but discovers he's an amateur pornographic film director. And he manipulates her into taking her shirt off as he films her sobbing.
I'll pay my dues on the West Coast. Come back to New York as a star.
Leroy is offered a position in the dance company, but he's got to graduate first to be accepted. And he could not read when he came into the school, and he had to learn how to read in order to be a graduate of this school. And then finally, my favorite number in the entire show is during graduation, the student body showcases their talents by performing the original song, I Sing the Body Electric. The opening lines are sung by Lisa, Coco, and Montgomery. And then we have dancing, and we have Bruno playing with the rock band, and then we have everybody singing. It is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So I suggest you go to YouTube and find some of these song titles from the film and watch these clips, and you'll see how mesmerizing this music is. So, again, I really, really encourage you to see the movie Fame.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer presents an Alan Parker film. Fame.
Because the struggle to improve your artistic ability, no matter the decade, is difficult. And you need hard work, patience, and be willing to accept criticism in order to advance your naturally gifted talent. And that is why this story resonates with me every time I see it, because I realize that it takes work and diligence and the belief that you can always achieve fame. My lovely people who love award shows. You may have watched the Golden Globes in early January. Coming up in early March, I believe, we have the granddaddy of award shows for film, and that would be the Academy Awards, also known as the Oscars. Now, I always watch the Academy Awards. I love watching the people with their fashion. I love to pay attention to the MC, who, by the way, this year will be Conan O'Brien. I think is extremely funny. And I like to guess as to what is going to win. And many times I'm wrong, but sometimes I'm not. So anyway, I'm going to start with the nominees for Best Picture. And again, I want to preface this by saying I have not seen all these films. I have not had the opportunity. They have not come around. I have not seen them on television. But based on what I have heard from other reviewers, I'm going to give my prediction. All right, first of all is the film called Anora. Then The Brutalist, which was a big winner at the Golden Globes for Best Actor and Best Picture. A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biography. Conclave, which is about the picking of Pope. And Dune Part 2. Amelia Perez, which is on Netflix right now. I have not seen it. It has garnered 13 nominations. I think that's the highest number of nominations any film has ever garnered. Emily Perez. And then the film I'm Not Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, about the Demi Moore character who won Best Actress at the Golden Globes, who drinks the substance and then regenerates into a younger person. And the greatest movie musical of all time in terms of financial gain, and that would be Wicked. So I am probably going to say that the winner for this is going to be either The Brutalist, based on what the critics are saying about a person coming into the United States as an immigrant and what his life is like, or possibly A Complete Unknown, which has really received rave reviews and done quite well at the box office about a certain phase of Bob Dylan's life. So keep that in mind as you're watching the Academy Awards. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet, hopefully I said that name right, for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for a prison drama called Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for the film The Apprentice, which is based on the story of Donald Trump and the show The Apprentice. I am almost 100% sure here that the winner for this is going to be Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. He taught himself how to play guitar and to sound like Bob Dylan. And he has made some wonderful films, Dune Part 1 and 2, Wonka, Call Me By My Name. Wonderful actor. Best Actress in a Leading Role, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. She plays Elphaba, the evil green witch. Carla Gasquian for Amelia Perez. Mickey Madison for Honora. Demi Moore for The Substance. This is an underdog. Demi Moore hasn't been a lead in a movie for many years. And now she's had a resurgence of popularity. Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. This one, I really don't have any strong feelings one way or the other, because I've only seen one film of this list here of 5 films. So I would personally say I would like Cynthia Erivo to win because I thought she was absolutely brilliant in Wicked. So that's just a personal choice. Okay, Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Yura Borsifov for Honora. Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. He plays Pete Seeger, the singer. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. And Jeremy Strong, who played Donald Trump, I believe, in the movie The Apprentice. Again, I have not seen any of these films at this taping time, but I'm going to probably say Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. That's what the critics have been saying, which is really the only thing I'm going on for that. Okay, Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Monica Barabo for A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Felicity Jones, The Brutalist. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. And Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez, I apologize. So, once again, I'm probably going to say Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, even though I don't know exactly what that role is. So I apologize for that, but that's just what my gut is telling me. All right, Best Director. Sean Baker for Honora. Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Jacques Ardard for Amelia Perez. And Coralie Fargiate, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, for The Substance. Again, I'm going to probably go with Brady Corbett for The Brutalist because of all the sensation that this film is receiving. Best Cinematography, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. I have seen two of these films, Dune Part 2 and Nosferatu. Either one is a toss-up. I thought the cinematography in Dune Part 2 was just off the charts. Absolutely wonderful. So I would probably go with Dune Part 2. I'm not going to hit every category. I'm just going to hit a few of these. So, Best Live Action Short Film, Aline, Anya, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, A Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. I'm not going to answer that. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm sorry, folks. Oh, my. Best Animated Feature Film. Let's go with that. Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoirs of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. I would probably have to say Inside Out 2 would be the winner here. I think that's been one of the highest grossing movies of all time for the Walt Disney Company. Whether that's a reason to nominate it, I can't verify, but that's what I'm going to go with. Best Original Song, I'm I from Amelia Perez, The Journey from The 688, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mia Camino from Amelia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, a movie Never Too Late. I'm going to go with Never Too Late because I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Elton John. So there. Best Makeup and Hairstyling, A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. I would personally like to see Nosferatu for this. I thought the character of Nosferatu himself was incredibly well done and just beautifully photographed. Best Costume Design, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Probably going to have to go here with Gladiator 2, which I thoroughly enjoyed very, very much. But they had a wide variety of costumes in that film that I think would be a reason why I should win. Best Sound, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, or The Wild Robot. I'm going to choose Dune Part 2 because I was in a theater that had the superb sound and just enveloped you as you watched this masterpiece. Best Visual Effects, Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, or Wicked. I am personally going to choose Wicked. I thought the visual effects were outstanding in this 3 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour extravaganza. So those are my choices for the major categories for the Academy Awards. You may care, you may not, but I will do a podcast after the Academy Awards are done, after they've aired, and I'll give you some idea of how I did. I might be a winner, I might be a loser. Who knows? We will have to see. But I do enjoy the whole beauty and gallantry and emphasis on vanity with the actors and the musical productions and the extravagances and the red carpet of the Academy Awards. So see you on the red carpet.
Let's lend our ears to the wacky observations of the world, according to Scott. Mr. B's wacky, 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 wacky world.
All right, folks. I would like to talk to you about some of my pet peeves when it comes to winter weather, when we actually have it. One would be roundabouts. First of all, I detest roundabouts. I guess they're supposed to be a more efficient way of moving traffic, but I find them just absolutely bewildering and dangerous for me, and especially roundabouts if they don't plow them. And then you don't have the ability to slow down to find the right exit that your GPS tells you to take. Ugh. So get rid of the roundabout. But I know that's not going to happen. Also, too, why do people think they can drive at the same speed in the winter with icy roads or snowy roads as they can in the summer? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think we need to slow down. Slow down. If you've been going 60, go to 50, or maybe even go to 40. I don't care if people have to drive around you and give you that smirk or a finger gesture. Just be aware that you need to slow down so you can give yourself time to use your brakes. Thirdly would be black ice. Oh my gosh. I notice this when I go walking. Many times it looks like it's clear and there's ice there. You can't really see it. And whoops, there you go and down you go. It's also the same case for you in your car. If your tires hit black ice, then you don't have any traction. You don't have any way of really stopping. And you can keep sliding. And then you might slide into another car. Or you might go into the ditch. Or you might spin around and end up in the ditch. Oh, there's many different scenarios that we could set up for that. So be very aware of, if you don't think there's ice there, there probably is. Also, driving in the winter, not being able to tell where the lanes are because it's snowing so hard, and you almost have to open your car door to see where the divider is for the road so you're not in the oncoming lane. That I shouldn't laugh about it. It's not funny, is it? But that's probably the best time not to be on the road. But that can be really strenuous, really scary when you have that happen. And that somewhat coincides with my next one, where people sit on your bumper. Oh my goodness, please don't tailgate when it is snowy or it's icy, because I might have to unexpectedly stop, and then you're going to run into me, and then we have problems. Oh, and I don't need problems. So stay well back. More so in the winter than you would during the summer. Okay? Please? Please. Also, people who are on their phones when it's snowing or the roads are icy, really? You have to do that at this time when you should have both hands on the wheel? Now, if you have a device where you can talk with both hands on the wheel, that's fine. I get that. But if you have to hold the phone while you're trying to drive in treacherous weather, I don't think so. Put the phone away. Please do that. And most important thing about winter driving, or also known as winter sliding, is leave your impatience before you get into the car. You have to have more patience at stop signs, at lights, with the weather conditions, with staying well behind the car in front of you. You have to be patient. I know that we are a society of non-patient people, but it could end up in a tragic accident, and nobody wants that. So I guess my remedy for these pet peeves is to just take your time, and also make sure you take along your winter survival kit, which would be, of course, the ability to listen to my podcast, and food, and some water, and salt, maybe some gravel, and a shovel, so that in case you do get stuck, you can maybe get yourself out. But always be prepared for the worst. So, with that enlightening message, happy winter driving!
And now, School Days with Mr. B.
Happy people. I was very happily a public school teacher for 39 years. And even though I've been in retirement for a few years, I still go back and sub quite a bit because I thoroughly enjoy, as I've said many times before, being around young people. And I just never get tired of that. So I thought I would talk about some of the good memories I've had of school. And I think I've somewhat done that throughout the podcasts I've done. But I just wanted to specify some. One would be coming to school early in the morning, being very excited. And I used to get to school about 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, maybe even earlier. I know I was the exception. Nobody forced me to do this, but that was the time where I could gather my thoughts, fine-tune what I was going to be doing in my classes, get some correcting done, and just enjoy the quiet of the building before the onslaught, so to speak. And I remember as most of the time when I would come into the building in the morning, I would say to myself, God, let me do the very best job that I can today as an educator. Let me do the best that I can. Let me try to reach out to as many young people as I can. And I think that really made a difference because I always felt like my higher power was with me in school during the good and so-called bad times, because I did have both, but majority of the times were very, very good. Also, I loved talking with teachers in the morning in the hallway over a cup of coffee, talking about what they did over the weekend, talking about educational issues, talking about their family. I used to have a group of teacher friends that we'd stand in the hall and we'd greet the students, and sometimes we'd break into song, and that was really, really fun. And we just tried to enjoy what we were doing, because if the students saw that you were really enjoying what you were doing, then they probably would, in my estimation, have a better chance of really listening to your content that you are selling to them. The third one would be, I always took great pride in getting through to the tough kid, the one who came in who didn't seem to want to care about anything or anybody, was bringing in a lot of baggage, because young people don't know how to leave the baggage at the door. As adults, we do that. I never felt like I should bring in my personal problems into the classroom. That's not their concern. They don't need to know about that. But young people bring it with them. And so I would try to really, more so than some other students, reach out to students who seem to be very sullen, very quiet, very anti-authority. I'm not saying that I worked miracles. I would never say that. But I many times found that I had a way of communicating with a student like this to get him or her to be interested in what was going on in the classroom, and maybe even go out for an extracurricular event, or maybe even talk to them after school, or maybe even talk to them before school, or maybe even strike up a friendship that went beyond the school walls when they graduated, because I have established those friendships with students that were, so to speak, trouble, whatever that means, while they were in school. And now they're totally different people. Remember, it's only one phase of their life when they're in high school, just one phase. And they're not completely developed yet. They have so much more to learn. Also, one of the great memories of school is running, not literally, but running into students in the community or anywhere, or hearing from them through email or Facebook Messenger, whatever it would be, saying how much they appreciate me or did appreciate me as a teacher, and they wanted to express that. So many times I will be in the department store and a student will come up to me. And again, I don't always remember their name. I apologize. That's one item about my advancement of years, that I've become much worse with names. And when I see them come up to me, they look different. I mean, they may have less hair, they might be bigger, whatever. They don't look like they did in high school. And so once they tell me who they are and I can try to place them in a certain class in high school in a certain year, then it makes sense to me. So I'm not above saying, can you tell me when you graduated? Can you tell me who you are? And I appreciate that they come up to me and say hi. And it really makes me feel good. And because so many times as an educator, you just don't know if you're making a difference. And the difference could be just something you say, the way you look at a student, a certain class day. Who's to say? And they carry all that with them when they leave. And so when you get that unforeseen text or email saying, thank you, Mr. Bertelson, for being who you were in the classroom and taking the time to recognize me and taking the time to be a good teacher. Or they tell me that when they see me in Walmart going through the line or in the grocery aisle, whatever it would be, then I walk out feeling fulfilled. I walk out feeling like those 39 years are very well invested. And one of the greatest feelings is knowing that you made a difference, knowing that you had an impact on somebody else. My next one is the staff lounge. I really enjoy going into the lounge. Many people think that the lounge is just a place to complain. That is not true. Not at all. It was a place to decompress. Oh, I'm not saying that occasionally people didn't complain, but maybe it was a way to take care of it in there, so then you would walk out the door and then you were refreshed for the afternoon. But we used to do fun things. We used to sing. Oh, yes. I remember one time, remember Kathy Cruz? We watched Andy Griffith's show and we had a picnic in the staff room. It was really fun. And we really had a good time. So it's a place to rejuvenate, to get my coffee, which is vital, to talk about things that weren't related to school, to bond with your fellow teachers. And I would highly encourage you always to occasionally take a step into the teacher's lounge. Because, by the way, many times there's donuts there. And you don't know where they've come from, but somebody brought them in for a birthday or something. And if you get there early, you'll get a donut, which I can't have anymore, or I choose not to. But anyway, you might want to get that instead of just getting the crumbs, because the food goes very quickly in a lounge. And finally, a great memory of school was the extracurricular involvement I had. I directed spring plays for 30 years, co-directed musicals for 35 years, and then I coached speech for 39 years. And even though it really added to my workload, it made school, the regular school day, so much better. Because I not only felt successful during the classes, periods 1 through 8 or whatever period number you're on at your school, but it also gave me the great chance for students to find their voice in a play or a musical or in speech, whether it was large group or individual. And I still judge speech contests. I still help occasionally if I'm asked a coach with a speech group. And it brings such pleasure to be able to do that. So, my happy friends, there are so many other reasons why being a teacher is so rewarding. But this is just a few. And it's enough to say, it was a good gig. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. And I can say before I leave this earth, that hopefully I made an impression on another human being.
Don't you forget this.
Let's have a seat round the proverbial table
Would you like to say grace?
with a nod to our higher power and Mr. B's spiritual journey.
For my spiritual journey, folks, I'd like to talk a little bit about the actual food. I've talked to you about the foods I feel are acceptable to eat. I have a food plan I report to my sponsor every day. I have my list of what I call my poisonous foods that I have to abstain from because one bite of them, like an alcoholic, I want more. I cannot stop. And that's because I have a disease of the mind and an allergy of the body. But there is a diet. I don't want to call it a diet. I apologize. There is an eating plan that I would highly suggest for people who are trying to abstain from alcoholic foods. And the basic plan is high in protein and very low in carbohydrates. And it suggests that you eliminate all sugars and, of course, sugary desserts like cooked cakes or candies or alcoholic beverages or grain products such as bread, cereal, or noodles because they all have sugar in them. I highly also suggest to try to avoid having snacks between breakfast and lunch or lunch and dinner. And in terms of beverages, to probably have either diet soda, tea, or coffee. And I also recommend that you have a vitamin supplement, such as calcium, vitamin E, B vitamins, to keep yourself balanced. Here's what I would suggest for a typical day menu. For breakfast, have a serving of protein and a serving of fruit. This could be 2 boiled eggs, unsweetened yogurt, a cup of strawberries. Normally, lunch would be 1 protein and 1 vegetable serving, consisting of salad greens or raw vegetables, maybe grilled chicken, maybe a cup of cooked broccoli. Another protein and vegetable along with a few salads, with a full salad, would also work. 2 cups of lettuce. For dinner, 4 ounces of beef or fish for dinner, 2 ounces of cheese, or 8 ounces of milk. I don't drink milk, but I do take a calcium pill. The advantage to this is that you will probably lose weight, especially if your diet contains plenty of refined carbohydrates, added sugar, or processed or fast foods, and alcohol. This way of eating, with its precise rules and portion sizes, makes it easier to follow than other diets. You don't have to count calories, fat, grams, or points. The emphasis is on fresh produce, lean protein, and to increase your intake of fiber and certain essential vitamins. Now, there are some disadvantages to somewhat following this program. It can be difficult to stick to unless you turn it over to your higher power. If you're going to use your willpower to do this, it won't work. It does have quite a restriction on grains, whereas the U.S. Department of Agriculture recommends to eat plenty of whole grain foods like brown rice, whole wheat bread, oatmeal, and basically this diet is trying to tell you to stay away from the majority of these grains, even though I do enjoy oatmeal 2 or 3 times a week. It can also increase the risk of nutrient deficiencies, particularly B vitamins, magnesium, and selenium. While this food plan addresses food intake, it does not encourage other lifestyle changes, such as exercise, which is one of the great long-term suitable weight loss solutions. So if you follow this, and then you go off it, you will definitely regain all the weight that you have probably lost. So, with that being said, those are just a few suggestions as to how you can maintain your abstinence if you stick to that type of plan. You want to cut out flour use. You want to cut out sugar use as much as possible. Now, everybody has a different plan when it comes to being an overeater. Some people can eat breads and it doesn't trigger a reaction in them. That does not describe me. It makes me want to eat more bread. It makes me want to eat a loaf of bread. It makes me want to eat 5-6 bagels at one time. So I can't do that. I stay away from pasta. I stay away from any kind of sugar that I can try to avoid. Even though there's sugar in my salad dressing, I'm aware of that. It's not one of the main ingredients. It's listed like number, I believe, 3 or 4 on the list. So it's not high in sugar. I also, most of the time, stay away from diet sodas because even though occasionally, about once a month, I will allot myself to have one, I don't want to, there's so many different chemicals in soda that I don't want to have that in my body. So I try to stick to coffee and water, sometimes tea. So with those changes, I try to eat as much lean meat, vegetables, and salad. And my higher power has made it possible for me to eat those items without ever really getting bored with my food. And I will treat myself occasionally with sugar-free Jell-O. It's sweet. It satisfies that sweet craving that I might have, but it doesn't have any sugar. And so I do that. I do not eat sugar-free candies because for me, it's still candy, and my brain sees it that way. Doesn't matter whether it has sugar or not, and I'll want to eat many bars of sugar-free candies bars, and I can't do that. I have to stay away from that in order to maintain my abstinence, which is my ability to stay away from alcoholic foods. So this week, I just wanted to share that with you. I am going to get back to the inventory and how you can go through that with somebody in order for you to reach your spiritual awakening. But we'll get to that soon. So keep yourself abstinent. Decide what it is you can have, what you can't have. And remember, the goal of the program is not really the food. It's changing your life, following the 12 steps. But in order to follow the 12 steps, you have to be, in my estimation, you have to be abstinent in order for it to work. And believe me, folks, it's worth it. Can you believe it? Our time is gone. Oh my goodness. I've enjoyed visiting with you today so much. I talked about the movie Fame, which you're all going to run out now and watch. And then we should have a sing-along, a Fame sing-along. And I talked about my predictions for the Academy Awards. And maybe you can make it a goal of yourself to see if you can watch some of these films that were nominated and just see how much I get right. Or we've talked about my pet peeves when it comes to winter, driving, which probably the best thing I should do in the winter is not drive at all. I talked about the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful memories I had as a teacher, and I still have these memories that I can carry with me for the rest of my life, and some suggestions, that's all it is, of what to eat to maintain your abstinence if you are an overeater. So, what a wide variety of topics. What will Mr. B talk about next week? Well, you never know. It could be poetry. It could be jokes. Haven't really done that yet, have I? You think you'd like my jokes? I guess we'll have to find out. Oh, anyway, I might do a TV review. I might do another movie review. I'll definitely talk about my spiritual journey. So, folks, I look forward to talking with you again. May the road of life welcome you, and stop and smell the roses. Our time here is limited. Enjoy it. Bye-bye for now.
Mr. B's Dinner Party is hosted by Scott Bertelson, edited and produced by Troy Thompson, recorded and distributed at Sunnyside Farm Studios. Music is provided by Soundstripe and platformed by Buzzsprout. Like our page on Facebook, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share with your friends. Listen and enjoy every other Wednesday. Conversational morsels for the mind on Mr. B's Dinner Party.